And of course, a very sad occasion this morning, and Vusiwe is out in Soweto, and this, of course, for the funeral service this morning of Dingaan, the Rose of Soweto Thobela, and he will be laid to rest today. He will be buried at the West Park Cemetery. Vusiwe out there at the Dlamini Multipurpose Centre in Soweto, where the funeral proceedings will take place. So let's take you to Vusiwe now to find out what the latest is there, and of course to see who is in attendance. So interesting hearing from Nika Kumalo earlier on, and no doubt there will be many more dignitaries in attendance. But Vusiwe, it's over to you. Good morning.
Thank you so much, Sakina. Good morning to you, and of course to our viewers at home. And as you can see, we are now in the Dlamini Multipurpose Sports Complex, and as you can see, of course, a number of people already starting to come in. The service was expected to get underway at 8 a.m., but as you can see, things are running a bit late, but we are expecting a full house here this morning as we send off one of the greatest boxing legends of South Africa. Joining me now, though, to look back and remember a dear old friend is Dr. Dingaan Thobela, of course, a former Boxing South Africa chair and the vice president of the African Boxing Union. And alongside him is Mr. Guyafiwa Sipho Mashego, boxing ring announcer. Doctor, let me start with you, because we look back at what Dingaan, the Rose of Soweto, has done for boxing lana in Africa. And what would you want to say at this moment about your dear old friend?
Well, Dingaan, good morning to your listeners and things. It is a sad moment, but at the same time, it's a happy moment, because we are celebrating the life of someone who has contributed immensely to the upliftment of the sport of boxing. Now, Dingaan Thobela was a character that cannot be ignored. He was a character that put South African boxing in a pedestal, both here in South Africa and internationally and in Africa. So for me, I know him when he started professional boxing. Funny enough, for those who don't know, Dingaan Thobela studied to become a teacher at the Soweto College, and then he became a professional boxer after completing his amateur activities. And he rose from being a WBO champion to a WBA champion, and to be also a WBC champion. And I must say, he is the only boxer in South Africa to have had 3 authentic world championships. And for me, it always humbles me, because he was a humble man, he was a giving man. Many people don't know that many people have benefited out of him. Even when he started his own funeral services, the Roses Burial Society, he buried many boxers who were destitute, and many people were destitute, and he supported many boxers in the ring, sponsoring them, anything. And internationally, Dingaan still has the record of being the person who will say, don't say it's over until the fat lady sings. Don Ketley knows that in the 12th round, Dingaan Thobela became the only second WBC champion in South Africa. And for me, I'm proud. As I was speaking to his father said the words that I think we have to celebrate his life. And for me, the way he left he left in a gentle way. The way he didn't do anything, and he just went away.
And you speak about so many fond memories of him, and that today is really about celebrating his life. I'll bring on Sipho Mashego now. When you think of Dingaan Thobela, what is your fondest memory you have of him?
Such a humble personality, you know, people loved him, you know. He actually, as Dr. Ngatani has alluded earlier on, he's one of the people who fought, you know, actually came and became a boxer in a time, in a period when there was apartheid in the country, you know. And when Dingaan fought, everybody knew that Dingaan was fighting. He was the pride of Soweto, you know, a very nice personality. We've lost somebody who actually represented the country internationally, You know, he was a world champion in 2 weight divisions, you know, as Dr. Ngatani has said, WBO, WBA lightweight champion, and WBC super middleweight champion of the world. So we fondly remember him, and we've lost one of the greatest sons of the African soil. And it's a very sad day today, Vusiwe, and, you know, may his soul rest in peace.
Indeed. And Doctor, perhaps when we speak about this and we look at the state of boxing, where it is currently in South Africa, what do you want to say to the young man, the young woman sitting at home and wanting to be the next Rose of Soweto? Because we know that we do have the talent in South Africa. What do you say to them to inspire them? Because we know Dingaan did what he did, not only for himself, but to inspire the next generation of great boxers.
Well, boxing is a sport of the poor, the downtrodden, and it rises someone from the dusty streets of any rural location or dusty location and put them up on a high pedestal. All it needs is someone to follow your dreams, to be passionate, and also to be dedicated to the sport. It's not an easy sport because you have to be training for any other sport. As you know, it's not an easy. People training for comrades and things like it's not easy. So you have to be dedicated and committed to the sport and be able to, because without talent, with talent, but without the dedication, without putting the efforts into it, there's nothing that you can achieve. So Dingaan has shown that you can come out of humble beginnings to the pedestal of the world.
From humble beginnings to the pedestal of the world, and that is what we witnessed with Dingaan Thobela. As I wrap up with you, Sipho Mashego, let's talk about perhaps as you look back, when you first encountered Dingaan Thobela, what was that moment like for you?
Well, it was magic. You know, I met him in Witbank. It was a couple of years back. You know, it was, I still have a picture when I was younger, he was younger. But I saw somebody who had a lot of confidence. Very clever. He was a very clever personality. And he also used to make us laugh. You know, he had jokes, plenty jokes. People didn't know that side of Dingaan. They knew the side where Dingaan would fight. But as we grew older, he was a friend of mine. He was a close friend of mine. I used to be on the phone with him daily, you know, talk to him. We had plans about him coming back, opening a lot of his gyms in the townships, in the rural areas. And we also had planned a podcast. Me and him was going to co-host a podcast.
Moving with the time.
Moving with the times, but such a wonderful person, and he will be sorely missed. You know, everybody will miss him in the boxing fraternity. Everybody loved him. You know, you also are a ring announcer, and you know Dingaan Thobela. He used to grace every tournament. He was that type of a personality, and he was somebody who would engage with the fans, take pictures with the fans. That's who he was. He was a people's personality. People loved him, and we will sorely miss that kind of a personality. The boxing fraternity has lost a legend. They've lost somebody who actually was giving his all for boxing and for the communities. And he also talked about making lives better for people. That's who he was. That's where he came from, the background that he came from, when he fought in the apartheid era, you know, and he wanted to see the youth develop, the youth getting involved in boxing. That's what boxing was about for Dingaan Thobela.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sipho Mashego, ring announcer, and Dr. Peter Ngatani, former chair of Boxing South Africa and the vice president of the African Boxing Union, talking about Dingaan, the Rose of Soweto Thobela. Today we bid him farewell, but what a lot this man has done for boxing in South Africa. He's touched lives, he's changed lives, and he's inspired an entire generation of future boxers. And that's where we'll leave it for now as we prepare for the funeral ceremony of the Rose of Soweto.